Hey everybody.
What's going on, everybody? This is Charlie from 3K Shadow Conspiracy Channel. This is our new podcast, webcast, whatever you want to call it. And we are very excited because we have some brand new exciting things for you to see. So if you want to catch up with us, make sure you click that little bell, make sure you subscribe, and leave a like, and enjoy the content that's coming up.
Charlie, what was that?
I was reading and doing research online, and I found out that one of the best ways to engage the viewer is to say something really quickly.
Oh.
It really stimulates the senses and makes you feel alive, makes you feel human. And as an added bonus, it is far too quick for the neural sensor language processors of this generation of Pony or iPhone or tracking devices installed by the NSA into your devices to process. That means, 3 King Shadow Conspiracy fan viewers, that the NSA cannot spy on you when you begin this process, this program. It is simply too quick for them to pick up. They will be perplexed, and we hope that it will shut down the data gathering. And who do we start with today on our first in an episode of our very own, what are these called, Chad?
What do you mean, what are these called?
We're doing a program where we're looking at historical figures. After all, to know the enemy, you must know their history. Now, we begin with a certain so-called founding father, also known as founding mother. Benjamin William Franklin, thought to be a male by fools and those who are ignorant of our country's history, actually a femoid, and our nation's infiltrator.
How do you fucking find the images?
I know not how to operate this device. Perhaps you should ask for images.
I feel like I'm like...
There it is.
Years old.
Benjamin Franklin Picture official site. Or so we thought! We have been deceived! Amazon, Jeff Bezos' very own, his creation, and he would like you to believe that that is a picture. Notice the feminine features, the shapely breasts, the bald head, the distinct unibrow, touched up, of course, by the painter. But who is Benjamin W. Franklin, you may ask? Well, of course, the man who invented thunder and brought the Illuminati New World Order scheme ever closer, encroaching upon our freedoms, our liberties. And what was it for? Well, you may know that at one point the world was heavenly. We had contact with He himself, King of Kings, Jesus Christ, until one woman. You can see how it is culturally ingrained in us to believe that this femoid was a male, until the heavens were pierced with thunder, and our extra-dimensional beings that we call Hillary Rodham Clinton and his friend, the so-called African-American male once, Bernie X, is now in a higher state, and now they are able to reach our once spiritually guarded souls. For when he invented thunder, Benjamin William Franklin, the shield, the protective layer that once protected us human beings against the extra-dimensional astro demons that now plague us, was destroyed, eliminated, annihilated.
So would you say Benjamin Franklin, this woman, is to blame for everything we have to deal with today?
All of the sin, and yet it was not. Now our viewers may be wondering, how is this possible, the birth of our nation? Well, it is simply the birth of two nations, brothers in arms, the United States of America and Bosnia, the true Christian kingdoms. And what did they do but flood the ether with light, the light of God, and that has kept us safe for decades. And yet, 90 years after the founding of this nation, we, the people, are under attack once more. For it is we, the people, who have had our country transform from biblical to what the politicians think should be our country. Once a nation under the book of the good Lord has now been transformed, and transmuted. And what are we left with but a country with no moral, no soul, no fiber? The shining light of Bosnia alone cannot penetrate the ether. And now we are left with parademons attempting to extract our souls, all because of this hateful, evil, sinful woman,
So wait,
Benjamin William Franklin.
like, is she like natural woman, or is she like?
Only the Lord knows the answer to those most intimate questions, Chad.
Bro, you gotta, like, I mean, I don't know, man, like, they wouldn't have, like, accepted someone like that back in the day, would they?
It was a closely guarded secret. Of course, the Christian men that founded our country would never accept this woman. And yet, there was a transgression. We have to consider the origin. Now, we all know the origin of the religions, but it is rarely told that there were once two religions united together. The spirituality that once united the United States and the rest of white Europe was not Christianity, nor Islam, but a fusion of the two. They call this Cyrus. And this religion, Cyrus, was a mixture of the two religions. And you might be wondering, how can this be? Well, as it turns out, Muslims and Christians are inventions. Christians are the true inheritors of the combined religiosity. And yet we have to consider George Washington, the father of our country. And yet it is rarely considered one important detail. George Washington had metal teeth. And how is this possible? Because he was the first machine. Now you may be wondering to yourself, it is true. And of course you must accept that it is true. George Washington with his metal teeth makes him the first machine founder, and yet he was uncertainly, he was with absolute certainty, a good man, a man of God and a man of his word. As we all know, George Y. Washington could not tell a lie. Why, you may ask? Well, why was his middle name? And why is that? Because he could not lie, which rhymes with why. It's so obvious.
Wait, I thought it was Abraham Lincoln who could not lie.
Abraham Lincoln could tell a single lie, and that was that his intent was to preserve the Union. In reality, Abe was a babe, just like his predecessor, Benjamin Washington Franklin, that's his last name. And it's so sad, because it's so true. And yet we can expose these individuals, and yet the people, they will not believe. There is one driving force behind all of this. Bernie X, international juror and former African-American male, has been running this country into the ground for centuries. Even before the birth of this nation, it was his plan, his intent, to take over this once great nation.
Wait, Bernie X has been alive for centuries?
Bernie X, the predecessor of all subservient men and women, subservient to the devil, Satan himself, Lucifer, or Barack Hussein Obama, however you slice it. They're all one and the same. Parademons, magicians, warlocks, and wizards, all one and the same under the same banner of evil. And what evil does that bring about?
Capitalism?
Crony capitalism. We once exposed a crony capitalist wage slaver, but he was too indoctrinated to hear our words of wisdom. And that is one of the saddest parts about this once great nation fallen, but we can still save it. There is one solution, one escape. We can always try, and yet we have. We have tried confronting the lizard people. We once met up with Senator Bob Corker, the fool. We attempted speaking to Corky Pig, and he did not listen. Nobody knows why the politicians act this way, but I would say it is because to them, we are like ants, the most favored food of lizard people. Ants that are microscopic, and consequently, they have to eat millions to sustain their lifeblood.
Oh shit! Hold on.
Who is that?
Hold on, Charlie. I gotta go open the door. I gotta go see what's going on.
Who is knocking? Who is intruding?
I don't know. Could it be the government? Could it be the United States government?
I
don't
hope
know.
not. What is going on?
Oh no, Charlie.
Chad, what is this?
Charlie, it's the NSA.
The NSA? You will not penetrate my home, my studio, my livelihood. This is my domain.
Get the fuck down.
No, you get down. I am a human. I am not afraid. I will show my humanity. This. Chad, help me get my shirt off. Ah! Ah!